Welcome inside the CEC TV studios once again for the 6th installment of Dixie State Women's Basketball Weekly. I'm Carrick Segmiller, Assistant Coordinator of Media Relations here inside the Athletics Department, joined as always by Women's Head Coach JD Gustin. And Coach, let's just dive right into it like we did last week. It's been fun to have these chats week by week, and only one game to talk about this week, and then we'll look forward to this weekend's games as well. But what a game it was. You go out and you get a win over the number 13 team in the country, 66-62 inside the Burns Arena. I know there's a lot of things that us media guys like to look at in terms of those wins, and it was the first win over a ranked opponent since 2011, the program's first win over Azusa Pacific. You as coaches, I know, aren't always thinking about those things, but really a huge win for your program in terms of what you're trying to build and what you're trying to do here at Dixie State.
Yeah, there's no question. Like we talked about last week, Eric, we have such great respect for Azusa, and for our kids to come out and kind of struggle that first quarter mightily. Was really disappointed with, again, their just ability to get ready to play, and maybe that's my fault. I have to do a better job with that. But for us to start that way and then to overcome and to beat an opponent like that was it was a lot of fun. And you're right, it's a program builder for sure. Hopefully, giving our kids some confidence in themselves and what we're doing, and hopefully help us, obviously moving forward.
Yeah, and you're right. We did talk after that game. It's not often you can get out rebounded and turn the ball over 20 plus times and you still beat a team as good as Azusa Pacific. But I think that's a big credit to your defense in the second half as well. And you did get out rebounded, but I think in the second half, really tighten that up, and there's a lot of moments in that second half where they're missing shots close to the rim, and your girls are still getting the rebounds. And I think that's a big credit to to Kristin and to Miley and to Ashley and everybody and what you did defensively in that second half.
Yeah, no question. We were significantly more disciplined defensively in the second half, and while they still got offensive rebounds, we were still doing a better job of finding them. In the first half, we didn't even barely move to try and find them, and so we responded there, and then we just made more basketball plays than they did down the stretch, and it was super encouraging.
What's going through your mind as a coach? And I'm sure coaches are able to compartmentalize probably better than I can, but as that game ticks into the third quarter, halfway through into the fourth quarter, you take the lead and you're thinking, we could do this, we could finish this off, and what's going through your mind of that? Are you just focused on just coaching one play at a time still?
Yeah, coaching one play at a time still for sure. But at midway through the third quarter, I looked up and I was just really proud of the way we were competing. And regardless of how it went the rest of the way, we were competing against one of the top teams in the country. And ultimately, that's all we want to do. I mean, we want to win championships and everything, but right now in the state of our program's in, we want to just compete at the highest level possible. And then about midway through the fourth quarter, when Azusa Pacific started to try and execute in the half, that's not their forte. They want to do what they do, and they're really good at it. And I think they got away from that a little bit. And so at that point, I thought, if we execute a little bit in the half down the stretch, I thought we might have a chance. And we did. You
sealed the game down the stretch with some free throws. There were a couple that were missed, but made just enough of those, 16 to 23 from the stripe. You'd probably like to see that a little bit over the 70% mark as a team for the game. But the girls stepped up and did what they needed to do there to seal the game. Yeah, I think that free throw shooting percentage goes along with a lot of other things that we're dealing with, just in terms of settling in, being more confident in what we're doing, and being more confident in ourselves and each other, and just getting used to everything, gelling. I think once we just barely have a rotation going. Like, this was maybe the first game where we felt comfortable about our subbing, who we thought were going to play more minutes than someone else. And so I think the more we go along and figure that stuff out, I think our percentages will rise. I think it goes together. A lot of the usuals had good games as well. Miley, 8 points, 10 rebounds. Mariah Martin did what she does. Got Taylor Moyaki back for the first time in a couple games. But I think maybe something we haven't talked enough about this year is Tremina Jordan. She has 12 points, 4 of 8 from outside. And we talked after that game and just talked about how she's the one that kind of kept you in the game, kept you close through the first couple of quarters. No question. And why
Kristin got a lot of the credit, and a lot of it, is deserved. 14 and 17, that's obviously no joke. But Tremina has been our rock, our foundation since our first game. She has come every game that we played with an intensity, with a focus in her eye, with a toughness, and I think our kids are starting to feed off of that a little bit. I know they're starting to feed off it a lot, and she brings an edge and something that we need. She was the only one that was really ready to go, and we kind of just hopped on her back and said, Mina, lead us, and we're going to follow, and we're going to make plays. And so I couldn't be more proud of her and where she is at right now.
You mentioned last week that you're not huge on those individual awards, but you bring in another one this year, 3 weeks in a row now, and Kristin with the the Player of the Week. What does that mean for you guys in terms of at least, hey, the conference is noticing what we're doing as well, and it's not just maybe those close to us?
Yeah, again, Carrick, I don't put any stock in it. I mean, again, we do everything that we can together, and again, I think Kristin deserved it, but in terms of the conference recognizing us, that means nothing to us. We go one game at a time, and we have a huge challenge in front of us on a Saturday, and we're just trying to do our best to get ready for that.
And that leads right into kind of what I want to wrap up here with. First conference road trip. You've been up to Oregon. You've been on the road, a couple times this season. Now you get to take your first conference road trip. And don't want to say the first road trip that really matters, because they all matter. But now you're in the thick of conference play. You go down and play a really tough California Baptist team on Saturday, and maybe the record doesn't show it on paper right now, but they do a lot of things well. A very dangerous team, and I'm sure you as a coach remember both of those games against Cal Baptist last year, and then you wrap the trip up with a game against a tough Concordia-Irvine squad that doesn't look too much different than your team this year. A lot of freshmen, and they're playing well, a new coach, and they're buying into their new system. So it's going to be a tough trip, both tough games.
Yeah, not only are they tough trip, good teams, but then I'm curious to see how our team will respond to what just happened. We're not really going to talk about it too much. But there's always a little room for a letdown after a big win, and we're going to practice like we need to be ready for that today and tomorrow, of course. I'm not going to say it's going to be too hard, but we're going to have a good couple days of practice for sure. But so that's one challenge for sure is not having a letdown, and then of course, like you mentioned, CBU, they're good everywhere. Their post player is fantastic. I don't know how we're going to guard her right now. I have tremendous guards. Jared's a national coach of the year, caliber coach, arguably the best on the West Coast. They just know how to do it right at CBU, and we'll have our hands full for sure. And then with Concordia being new, we don't know a whole lot about them. The coach has them. I don't know her. I don't know much about them. I just know that they're playing well, and they beat our pants off at their place last year. And it's a really challenging road trip, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see what we're made of on the road.
I'm looking forward to being there every step of the way as well, being able to call those games, and hopefully we can come back and talk about a couple of wins next week here on the show. So thanks for stopping by again, and just again, congratulations on a big win last week. We'll kind of put it behind us for now and look forward, and then maybe when the season's over, that's something we can go back and look at and say again, wow, that was awesome, and hopefully many more moments like that, and not just last week.
I'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas. I don't know if we'll talk again before Christmas, but wish you Merry Christmas, everyone out there, and be safe. Have a great holiday.
Absolutely. He's head coach JD Gustin. I'm Carrick Segmiller. We appreciate you tuning in. We're going to take a short break, and afterward we'll be joined by senior center Kristin Baldwin. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Dixie State Women's Basketball Weekly right after this. Welcome back inside this week's installment of Dixie State Women's Basketball Weekly. We're excited this week to have senior center Kristin Baldwin joining us from Thatcher, Arizona. Kristin, thanks for joining us today as we get to know you, and all the players in this team have had a lot of fun with this project. I'm excited to have you on, so thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I always like to start out and just to ask, just to get a little bit of idea, get to know you, your path to Dixie State. Obviously, you were at BYU Hawaii last year, and they did away with athletics, so you had plenty of choices to choose from, I'm sure, and you chose Dixie State. What was it that jumped out about Dixie State, whether it was the campus or the team, or talk about your journey to Dixie State to St. George?
Yeah, well, we've obviously played them, and I liked that Dixie State was still in the Pac West because I really liked the conference and the competitiveness of it, and I really wanted to stay in the Pac West. And then when I came here on my trip, I just really liked the vision that the coaches had for the team and being able to rebuild the team and being a part of that. So I was excited for that, and that's a lot of why I chose to come here.
Good. And I had to look up to see where Thatcher was, thinking maybe it's just over the border in Arizona. Maybe it's close. That's maybe one of the reasons. No, it's almost 10 hours away. So it's not necessarily close to home, but that's good. We're excited to have you at Dixie State, so we're glad that you made that choice. Talk a little bit about this year's team. Obviously, you're one of just a few seniors on the team. You come into a situation where there's a lot of, 5 freshmen, a sophomore, some juniors, and you're one of just a couple of seniors, so you're one of those leaders that is expected to lead. How has that been, jumping into that kind of a situation?
Yeah, it's been very unique for me because last year I was one of the youngest people on the team. We didn't have any freshmen last year at BYU Hawaii, so coming here with the team with a bunch of freshmen and being able to be part of the leadership, it's been interesting. It's been good for me personally. And
you mentioned being at BYU Hawaii, obviously the Pac West Conference, and how much you like the conference. You had a year at BYU Hawaii. You've been through the conference once, so it's no stranger to you. How much does that help in terms of being able to step in and be a leader on this team and say, look, I haven't been at Dixie State. This is my first year here at the school, but I've been through the conference. So now as we get ready to go out on the road, especially, I can lead you and let you know my experience, what we've had through there.
Yeah, no, I think me having a different perspective on a different team has been able, I've been able to give, a different perspective for this team, and just being able to go back and play some of the same teams and same conference. I kind of know what to expect, like you said, so it's been good for me to be able to help the team out that way.
I've always wondered, what was that like last year? Obviously, you only played 1 year at BYU Hawaii, so but when you decided to go there, you knew that you only had the 1 year to play there. What was that like, just going through the knowing, I'm going to either have to be done with basketball or find a different home after this year? Yeah,
well, that's part of the reason why I chose to go there. It's because I wasn't sure if I still wanted to play basketball, so I was like, I'll just give it a try. So I gave it a try, and I ended up loving it. So I was sad to see the program go, but it was a good experience for me. So.
Well, it worked out great for us.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you here at Dixie State. So I remember watching you play against us last year and kind of what you did against us. We're excited to have you, as I'm sure your teammates are, have you on this side of the equation this year. What makes this team special that you're a part of this year? Obviously, you've played your whole life. You've played at Pima Community College. You played at BYU Hawaii. Now here at Dixie State, you have a lot of experience to look back on, a lot of different teams. What makes this year's team special to you as a player?
I think it's just there's a lot of new girls and a lot of freshmen. They bring a good energy to the team, and we're able to work together because we're all pretty new, and the coaches are new and stuff. So we're all able to come together and just work hard to try to do our best in the conference.
Like I mentioned before, you've been through the conference before. You played all the teams. Do you have a certain team in the conference that you kind of look at the schedule and you go, excited for that game right there?
Yeah, I think Hawaii Pacific is probably one of my most what I'm most excited for. I also am excited to play Dominican too, because they have a big girl who I'm excited to go up against again. But yeah, those are probably my top 2.
Good, and you get both of those teams at home. In fact, you played both those teams home and away this year, so that's good. A lot of fun there on the horizon. Pac West Player of the Week earlier this week with a big performance and a big win over Azusa Pacific. In fact, it was this program's first ever win over Azusa Pacific. Talk about that game a little bit and just what the award means to you.
Yeah, well, going into the game, I just saw it as a great opportunity for us to come out and show what we can do and stuff. So I was just really excited for that game and to show that I'm still a competitive player in this conference. And then what it is, to get Pac West Player is a huge accomplishment for me. So it was something that I kind of wanted to do last year, but I wasn't able to do it last year, so being able to do it this year is really cool.
You had Pac West Defender a couple times last year, and then really get that Pac West Player of the week. So congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
We were all excited for you,
Yeah.
and to see the conference seeing what we see in terms of how good of a player you are. So congratulations on that. Obviously, getting ready to go out on the road for the first time in conference play. You've had a couple of road games already in the preseason, but getting ready to head down to California Baptist in Riverside and then over to Concordia-Irvine on Monday. Cal Baptist has got the new arena down there. How excited are you as a team to go down there and to get on the road in conference play?
Oh yeah, I think we're all super excited. Yeah, like you said, it's a new arena. It'll be different for me to go there to the new arena, but Cal Baptist is always a competitive team, and I'm super excited to get to play them. Same with Concordia.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you stopping by and taking a couple of minutes with us to get to know you a little bit. This is a project that I keep telling Coach Gustin and all the other coaches and players as well, that just excited about it. And it's been your team's idea to do this, and I'm just happy to be along for the ride and to be the one being able to ask these questions. And it really helps me get to know all of you better too. So thanks for stopping by, for taking a couple of minutes.
Thank you.
Wish you the best of luck this weekend in California. I'll be there at each game. So good luck. Another big congratulations to Kristin for the Pac-West Player of the Week earlier this week. Also big thanks to Kristin and to Coach Gustin for their time on Women's Basketball Weekly. Appreciate you watching. Make sure you tune in and catch the show next week.